Hey guys, good evening. It is John C. Morley here, Sir Entrepreneur, or should I say good afternoon, depending on what part of the world you're from, or good evening, or good morning, wherever you're listening me from. I really appreciate it. You know how we do this. We start on a Saturday, we roll all the way through the week, and we finish up on a Friday with our master topic. And just want to thank you so much for being here. If you're new to the channel, well, just go ahead and grab your smartphone for me. Launch that camera app, point it over the QR code like so, touch the yellow lips, and you'll get my link tree. If you're not watching us, but you are listening to us only, then go to believemeachieve.com for more of my amazing creations. And just want to thank you for being here. Whether you're watching me at 3 a.m., 3 p.m., 12 noon, 12 midnight, 4 a.m., 4 p.m., or whenever you choose to watch us, really do appreciate that you have decided to make inspirations for your life a part of your daily motivational diet. So let's get underway without any further ado. Our master topic is understanding why release of control will give you more of it. And we're on series 2, which means we're in the second year, show 30, episode 4. Wow. Can't believe we're in the second year. Can you believe that, guys? That's pretty amazing. We're talking about control, and we're talking about power in leadership because they really talk with each other, right? So there are different types of power, okay? And so when we think about power, um, there are 7 basic types, but really there are 9 types when we include some other things, such as some other important categories that are not always talked about. So I want to talk about an interesting type of power today. It's called expert power. But before I can talk about expert power, I just want to ask Merriam-Webster, what is the meaning, yes, ladies and gentlemen, of the word power? So first of all, power is a word, according to Merriam-Webster. The word power, Power, is a word that has been around for quite a while and is a noun. According to Merriam-Webster, it's the ability to act or produce an effect, the ability to get extra base hits, capacity for being acted upon or undergoing an effect, legal or official authority, capacity, or right. Okay. All right. So, one having such power, like in a sovereign state, a controlling group, archaic, such as the force of an army, a large number or quantity is also known as a force, physical might, mental or moral efficacy, political control or influence, powers that be, an order of angels. The number of times is indicated by an exponent that a number occurs as a factor in a product, a source or means of supplying power, like a battery, electricity from your plug or from power plants, etc. Motive power and the time rate at which work is done or energy emitted or transferred. Magnification, like in science, 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, 10 times, etc. 20 times. Scope, right? Very, very important. So now that we understand power, power is also a verb to supply with power, and especially motive power, verb, to give impetus to. Okay. And so those are the ones I really want to talk about. Now, power is also an adjective, operated mechanically or electrically rather than manually, right? All right. They operated with a type of, it was power, right? So of or relating to or being a metal at which influential people discuss business or politics. That's power. So now that we understand what the word power is, what the heck is expert power? Well, before we can get into expert power, let's first look up the definition for expert. So expert is an adjective, okay? Expert is also a noun when we refer to a person. He is an expert in the field of space or he is an expert in the field of astronomy, right? Means that person has the skills or knowledge to understand that field really well. They're sometimes called SMEs, subject matter experts. Now, an expert is also an adjective, having, involving, or displaying special skill or knowledge derived from training or experience, as again per Merriam-Webster. Thank you so much for that definition. So that's an adjective. It is also, ladies and gentlemen, a verb. So experted, experting, experts. So I am experting my knowledge upon to the students so that they can be great scholars. Experting. I experted my knowledge in the college class that I taught yesterday after lunch. Experting. I'm one of the experts on the panel that is knowledgeable when it comes to artificial intelligence and how it could potentially cause disaster in our lives, which we may not see coming. All right, so now we understand the definition of expert and we understand the definition of power. So what the heck is expert power, John? That's a great question. So expert power can be part of an organization, and it's when one particular person has skills that others don't have. Leaders refer to this often to defer to the expert, or let's talk to the expert, or let's talk to the SME, the subject matter expert. Employees typically assume managers or executives possess some skill or knowledge that others don't, but anyone in the organization can hold expert power. To use expert power in your career, pursue expertise in your field, when you demonstrate a high level of competence in your field. I don't care if we're talking about electronics, marketing, legal advice, construction, right? The list can go on and on and on. It doesn't matter. You're able to deliver advice in that area, or what we call trust, to solve a particular challenge or problem because of your experience. Let me give you an example. This happened many years ago. After picking up my grandparents at the airport and driving them home with my parents, we sat at the dining room table looking at slides from their trip. However, we heard a loud noise coming from the basement. Without a moment's notice, I quickly hurried to the basement door, unlocked it, tiptoed down the steps, and just as I was about to put my foot down on the last step before getting onto the basement floor, I noticed this abundant amount of water that was almost as high as that step. If I was going to lift my foot and not even put it down about 2%, my foot would have been drenched in water. What happened? Their hot water heater broke. That hot water heater had been in their house for over 30 years, and they say they're only good for 10 or 12 years. We contacted the local plumber, and because of his expert power, he was able to recommend a solution so this would never happen again when they traveled. Even if the tank did blow a leak, it wouldn't cause such an enormous amount of destruction and water damage in their basement. He recommended that we dig trenches around the edges of the cellar and put in gravel, and then have them all connect into one point, whereby he put a sump pump. What he was recommending was a French drain. Therefore, anytime it rained or anytime there was any problem, they never had any water in their basement, all because of expert power. That's pretty impressive, isn't it? But how do people abuse expert power? That's what I want to talk about today. The abuse of expert power. It can be in corruption, just standard misuse. If someone is in a position of power or perceived power, they may use that authority to their advantage. This could be anything from taking money from a company through extending vacations, the misuse of company credit cards, or mistreating and manipulating employees for personal gain. So the question you might be asking me is, hey, John, how do we combat that? Thank you so much for the like. Really do appreciate that. Thank you so much for tuning in. How do we combat that? So when we feel that someone is acting in a manner in which is probably overstepping the bounds, we can call them on a carpet and say, hey, I understand you've been an expert as a plumber for 32 years. And I understand you know what you're doing. And in the same breath, I don't think we need 4 sump pumps in our basement when my home is 4 times the size and we only have 2. Therefore, I think we can get by with just 1 pump and some more French drains. He went on to say, I beg to differ with you. Great. Well, it's always great to hear your opinion. Thank you for your time. And we're going to talk with some other plumbers first. Now, what did that guy do? He put his foot in his mouth because he tried to get them involved in a solution that they did not need or want. All they wanted to do was get water out of the basement. Challenge with my grandparents. They got water in their basement lots of times from rain, and they lived, there was a hill in the back. And so the water would a lot of times, be up in the gully, and then it would just kind of come over when it got high, and they would have water in their basement. Now, not a big flood, but because of the challenge they had with the hot water heater, they decided this was a very good use for this installation. So they would never have to worry about water in their basement again. So when a person has or holds power, and I'm talking about expert power, they possess a control or an authority over others and have the ability to influence. Let's give you an example. Let's say that you are putting in a new swimming pool. And when you put the swimming pool in, you happen to notice that you're probably about 5 feet away from the water table. What do? You talk to the expert pool master builder, and he says, we can get this pool as deep as you want. At the time, it was a lot less money than it is today. I think today it's like about maybe 5 or 10,000. At the time, many years ago, it was $1,000 to use well points per foot. So that means if our pool could only get to 5 feet, because that's where we're hitting water level, right? And if we want to go deeper than 5 feet, 3 more feet. That's $3,000. And we went a little extra because we wanted to make sure that it did the water table didn't just belly right to it. So we went 4 feet down. So 5, 6, 7, 8. We went 9 feet. 8 feet was where the thing was. Another foot down was the water table, thus keeping the pressure low. Because of his expert power, we were able to install a pool that many people could not conceive possible. Expert power, again, is perceived power held by a leader or an authority figure. They may be elected. They may be a layperson, could be an engineer, it could be a variety of things. Those without the skill or knowledge are beholden to the expert to guide them in various ways. That's why in life, when you have a challenge, like, I don't know, your sink gets clogged, or you need to build a deck or put an addition on, like a new room, you seek an expert to help you with that design by going to an architect. They make sure that everything is correct. The engineers look at it to make sure that it's structurally sound and it has all the appropriate things that are needed. And then you have to go to the town and get a permit. Now, if you don't know a building permit, if you don't know what this is, then you wouldn't have the power to get this orchestrated. Expert power is not limited to organizational leaders. Okay, I want to be clear with that. They revolve around power structures. Anyone with an organization, anyone that has any type of expert knowledge, maybe they're a painter, maybe they're a craftsman, it doesn't matter. It could even be a team captain that has more experience to managing a team, right? And there could be people in charge at the Homeland Security and White House that have expert power to maintain order, inform, and inspire people to keep things safe and on the level. Expert power is important because it does the following. It signifies confidence. And those working with someone, a leader in power, is perceived to have expertise and be an expert in that field. He or she may give business or organizations, let's say, the ability to go forward, or a lot of times they'll call it the knowledge or notoriety. They help business and organizations to run efficiently and, of course, in the appropriate manner, right? Expert power allows someone to take a situation and grow it and change it into a more positive place. Expert power can be found in the courtrooms. Whether it's a civil trial or a criminal trial, it has no bearing. A lawyer is deemed to have expert power because he or she has gone to school for law and passed the bar. Thus, because of that and the many hours they put in so that they could pass the bar, it is deemed that he or she is considered an expert in that field, right? So, for example, a lawyer may not be an expert in data forensics, which I work on a lot. So they may call in someone like us because I am an expert of power in that field. I can give a credible testimony on how data recovery works, where a lawyer may understand how to present a case, but they're not going to know how data recovery works. They're not going to know how forensics work. They're not going to know how to track somebody down that's stalking someone in the net. They're not going to know that information. Now, does expert power have advantages and disadvantages? Sure, it does. Just like anything else. Expert power has advantages and disadvantages. And when it comes to expert power, this is mostly rearing its head in management styles. Advantages of expert power: confidence, motivation, and the perceived perception of working with a leader. Order. Of course, a person in expert power is given respect, right? That's a pretty interesting thing. So you might say to me, hey, John, what is the disadvantage of expert power? The disadvantage of expert power. What do you think it is? So experts can also be wrong about things from time to time, right? And so they oftentimes have to prove to whether it be a jury, whether it be a customer, that, this indeed is necessary. We did really need 4 sump pumps. We didn't. We only needed 1. Okay. But having expert power can help you step back, take a look at the situation, and decide, do I want to move forward? Do I want to move backward? Or do I just want to stay exactly where I am? So, what do leaders with expert power lack? Aha, great question. Expert power has weakness. Okay. Expertise will, let's say, lose its credibility as knowledge is shared. If a manager shares knowledge or skills, such as instructions, with his or her employees, then he or she is less of an expert. This is why I always say that if you're a knowledgeable person in a field and you have expertise, you have to stay at the top of your game by keep learning. If you don't keep learning, even the person that had no knowledge about your field will most likely pass you up in the future. So we're talking all about the different types of power. And the reason we're doing this is because at the end of the week, we're going to dive even deeper to understanding why releasing control will give you more of it. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, you know who I am. I'm John C. Morley, serial entrepreneur. It has been an amazing privilege, a pleasure, and an honor to be with you this fantastic afternoon or evening. I hope you'll like, love, support the channel. Definitely comment below. Tag your friends, colleagues, and associates. Why not share this with everyone on social media? And be sure to click on that PayPal link and make the choice, ladies and gentlemen, to buy my team and I a cup of coffee, a bowl of fruit, or a savory dessert plate. Either way, we're going to be grateful for those pennies and dollars. We'll invest them into new hardware, new technology, new equipment, new software, even new facilities to give you the most jaw-dropping motivational content to empower you. Can't find our link to buy us that cup of coffee? Just go to believemeachieve.com and click on the link. Help keep our content free. Again, I am so glad that I could share this with you. And let me know, what is it you want to learn more about? And I'll be happy to serve it up to you. I hope you guys have an amazing rest of your day, rest of your evening, and feel free to go through these nuggets many times, because let's face it, ladies and gentlemen, you don't learn something by watching or do it once. You learn as mother of repetition is doing it over and over and over again. Have yourself a fantastic evening. And remember, power is key, but having the knowledge of how to utilize that power will indeed affect whether you become a success or you fall down the ladder. Have a great one, everyone, and be well.